mafia boss named Richfield tried to force a wheat farmer to sell his land. When the farmer refused, Richfield responded with brutal violence. From a distance, the farmer's son, Diego, watched in shock as his father was murdered. Tears ran down his face, but he stayed hidden. Not long after, one of Richfield's drivers saw him. Instead of turning Diego in, the driver told him to run into the forest. At that moment, Diego knew his life had changed forever and felt ready to die. Later that afternoon, he went back home and watched in horror as Richfield's men murdered his mother, leaving him crushed with grief. Just then, the driver appeared again and introduced himself as Silas. Silas apologized for not being able to stop the violence, but promised to protect Diego. Rather than taking him to the U.S., Silas chose to send Diego back to his homeland in China, where his own father and youngest daughter would look after him. With no other option, Diego agreed and boarded the ship that same day. In China, Diego was greeted by Silas's father, a master of martial arts. There, he also met Silas's youngest daughter, who was training hard under her grandfather's strict teaching. Diego started his own training, learning discipline and fighting skills every day alongside her. As time passed, he became stronger. He wanted to go back and take revenge, but 10 years had already passed. Both he and Silas's daughter had become skilled fighters. One night, memories of his family's tragedy flooded his mind, and he released his anger on a punching bag. His grandfather saw his pain and warned him not to let revenge consume him. He explained that Silas had pretended to be one of Richfield's drivers for his own hidden reasons. Silas's eldest daughter had also suffered because of Richfield's cruelty. However, Silas failed to fight back and became trapped in Richfield's criminal network. That was why he risked his life to save Diego. After hearing this, Diego's anger grew even stronger. He realized that Richfield's cruelty had ruined not only his family but also Silas's. The next morning, before sunrise, Diego left quietly without telling his grandfather. He boarded a ship back to the U.S., determined to find Richfield and avenge his parents. During his journey, 2 thugs tried to rob Diego, and he fought them off successfully. But the fight caught the attention of the local authorities. He was arrested for causing a disturbance and forced to return to Mexico, far from where he wanted to go. Meanwhile, Richfield met with one of his trusted men. He ordered stronger security for the kidnapped women, as a big company was expected to buy them soon. His crimes had grown from land grabbing to include drug and human trafficking. On his way back to Mexico, Diego stopped at a bar to rest and noticed a man named William playing cards. A little later, 2 men blocked William and tried to force him to go with them. William refused, and a fight broke out. At first, Diego stayed back, but when he heard Richfield's name, he realized the men were Mafia henchmen. He quickly joined the fight and helped William defeat them. William then hurried Diego into a car before the police arrived. That was why the henchmen were still chasing him. Diego realized he had wrongly suspected William and apologized. He explained that his real goal was to avenge his parents by killing Richfield and invited William to help him. William, still angry about his brother's death, agreed immediately. Meanwhile, at Richfield's headquarters, 2 henchmen came back after failing to capture William. To make up for their failure, they brought a kidnapped woman. When questioned, they admitted that William had escaped. Furious, Richfield ordered Silas to take the woman away and told his men to find William no matter what. Soon after, Diego and William shared a meal together. While they were talking, William asked why Richfield had killed Diego's parents. Diego explained that Richfield had tried to force his parents to sell their land, and when they refused, he killed them without hesitation. Soon after, they saw a woman trying to steal William's car, and Diego and William chased after her. William tried to stop the woman, but she fought back. Diego joined in, and together they managed to overpower her. When asked, the woman said her name was Bianca. She explained that she had gone after the car because of the Richfield logo. Bianca also revealed that she had once been a victim of Richfield. Although Bianca had escaped, many of her friends were still trapped. After hearing her story, Diego shared that he and William also wanted revenge against Richfield. He invited Bianca to join their mission to avenge their losses and rescue her friends. Bianca agreed immediately. That night, attention turned to Richfield, who met with Silas and two henchmen to prepare the purchase of farmland in a nearby village. Silas suggested dealing with the two henchmen, but Richfield refused, saying he wanted to protect the land himself. Meanwhile, Diego, William, and Bianca arrived at one of Richfield's huge estates, which covered thousands of hectares. Bianca explained that the land had been taken through corruption and intimidation. Farmers were forced to sell, and the area was now being turned into the largest drug factory in the United States. Diego promised that Richfield's plan would fail. He was determined to stop him before the factory was built. The three of them made a campfire and rested while planning their next move. Soon after, one of Richfield's henchmen, James, appeared and pointed a gun at them, warning that no outsiders were allowed on Richfield's land. When James lowered his guard, Diego quickly overpowered him and tied him up. Now in control, Diego asked why James worked for Richfield. James explained that his family was constantly threatened, leaving him no choice but to obey. Diego realized that James was not a true enemy, but was acting under pressure. James asked Bianca to untie him, and Diego invited him to join their mission. He declined, choosing to protect his family rather than get directly involved, but he offered moral support and wished them success against Richfield. The next day, Diego, William, and Bianca went to the home of Silas, Richfield's former driver. Silas was surprised to see Diego, believing he was still in China with his grandfather and youngest daughter. Diego apologized for leaving without permission and explained that he could no longer hold back his desire for revenge against Richfield. He introduced his two companions who were joining him on the mission. Diego asked Silas to share the location of Richfield's headquarters and the times Richfield was usually there. At first, Silas refused, worried that facing Richfield could put Diego's life in danger. But Diego reminded Silas of his eldest daughter, who had once suffered from Richfield's cruelty. These words moved Silas deeply. After a brief silence, he finally agreed to help. That night, the group prepared for the mission. Following Silas's guidance, they planned the attack and got their weapons ready. Once everything was ready, Diego, Silas, William, and Bianca approached Richfield's base. When they arrived, they moved carefully through the buildings. Bianca took out two guards, and Diego handled another. Inside, they found the kidnapped women and quickly freed them. Bianca then led an attack upstairs to deal with Richfield's right-hand man, while the others focused on the rescue. Bianca succeeded and quickly came back to Diego, who was still helping the kidnapped women. Diego told her to lead the women to safety while he, William, and Silas went ahead to face Richfield. Before leaving, Bianca gave Diego her hairpin, saying it might be useful. Then, the situation started to change quickly. After Bianca led the women to safety, Diego and his group were ambushed. The henchmen reported back to their boss, and Richfield ordered that the intruders be kept alive because he wanted to torture them first. Before reaching the captives, Richfield showed a photo of Silas's father and youngest daughter, who had also been kidnapped. Richfield revealed that he had suspected Silas for a long time and had sent men to China to capture his family. While he spoke, Diego, William, and Silas were being beaten. Diego secretly used Bianca's hairpin to unlock his handcuffs. Moments later, Richfield showed up and threatened to kill Silas's father and daughter. Silas pleaded with Richfield to spare his family, willing to give up his own life. But Richfield cruelly said he would kill both Silas and his family. Before he could do anything, a car suddenly crashed into the compound and started shooting at his men. James got out of the car, finally deciding to join Diego and his team. James's arrival forced Richfield and his men to retreat to the upper floor. James was almost injured, but Diego saved him just in time. Together with Silas and William, they moved forward and fought Richfield's guards. During the chaos, 2 of Richfield's men were suddenly shot. Bianca came back to help, turning the fight into a fierce gun battle as more enemy reinforcements arrived. Diego and Silas split up to look for Richfield. Meanwhile, Bianca, James, and William stayed behind to hold off the remaining guards. They found Silas's father and youngest daughter being held hostage. Richfield made them drop their weapons and then attacked, seriously wounding Silas. Even with his injuries, Silas kept fighting alongside Diego. Richfield fought with incredible skill like a trained Special Forces soldier, making it hard for Diego to keep up. Meanwhile, Bianca, James, and William defeated Richfield's last henchman and rushed to join Diego. In the middle of the fight, Richfield asked why Diego was so determined to kill him. Diego explained that Richfield had killed his parents many years ago. Shocked, Richfield realized that Diego was the child he had once thought was dead. The fight went on, and Richfield almost overpowered Diego. At a crucial moment, Silas's youngest daughter broke free and joined the fight. Even against 2 opponents, Richfield still had the upper hand. Despite his injuries, Silas managed to fire a desperate shot, giving Diego an opening. Fueled by anger, Diego attacked fiercely. As he prepared to take revenge for his parents, James stepped in, telling him not to kill Richfield but to let him face justice. Richfield laughed and tried to grab his weapon back. At that moment, Bianca threw a knife, and Diego, not wanting anyone else to get hurt, finally ended Richfield once and for all. Richfield was dead, and Silas, badly wounded, took his last breath. Diego felt proud of everything Silas had done that day. He gathered Richfield's land documents, promising to return them to the farmers who had been forced to sell. Soon after, a police chief arrived and was shocked by the destruction around him. Diego stepped forward and offered to take responsibility. The police chief refused to arrest him, admitting he had underestimated Richfield and told them to leave. The next day, Diego, Bianca, James, and William met again. They decided to form a team to go after people who abuse their power. At that moment, Bianca kissed Diego, finally showing her feelings. The story ended there.